Alright friends, welcome back again to another episode of Tactical Enlightenment. Our YouTube channel is dedicated to all things Bannerlord related, and forgive the intro here. What I'm doing right now is over narration, part of the campaign we are playing. We are playing a Norse campaign with Warsails, and this was a siege defense that was part of the campaign that I knew a lot of people would be interested in seeing. So I've cut it out here. We'll continue to do some of the highlights like this, snip out the parts that I know will be extra interesting, and now get back to live narration. But the Nords are going to be disappointed because their infantry is not world killing, right? Their tier 6 infantry, the Huskarl, really looks more defensive than offensive when you take the sum of the parts. The lack of the two-handed axe, the lack of 280 athleticism. They look like very stout, tough squares, right? Defensive units, which I think a lot of people were probably hoping that there was something that looked like Thor with lightning bolts coming out of his eyeballs, his arse and his hammer, smashing everything into pieces. And, you know, that could be adjusted, right? We know the developers are actively tinkering, right? And we know they listen based on the changes they made to heavy cavalry. Bless their heart, right? They love this game probably more than we do, right? Even though I love it an awful lot. They continue to make changes here. And that's opportunity. You guys smell that? Smells like opportunity to me. This guy's not going there too. That's even better. If he went there, we wouldn't be able to get a siege defense on. But this smells like siege defense o'clock. 1200 Khuzait. We're a little bit beat up from that fight, but by the time they launch the siege, we might be nearly full, nearly healthy. And then we can feast on the Khuzait. I'm going to hit that village. We lost a few troops in that battle. You always lose troops when you sneak in. I wish the penalty, again, the 1.1% chance Tail Worlds is listening, I wish the penalty was more severe to sneaking into castles, because it does become by far the easiest way to defend castles, is just to sneak in. They did dramatically change the auto-resolve, which is great. You now have to actually use tactics inside a castle. You can't just click a button and save the day. I think that's a really good change. A proverbial two-handed, loud Leonardo DiCaprio clap for that one. And we got a full army, right? We do have some raggedy troops in here, but I've got prisoners to recruit. I'm feeling pretty good about this. It looks like there's a couple catapults. It remains to be seen if they're good catapults, right? It could be just a shitty stone catapults. We're going to wait for daylight here. And let's do this shit, right? We've already had one incredibly tight siege. This might be a really hard siege as well. It all depends on the makeup of this castle. And guess what? I have no idea what this castle looks like. You know why? Because you can't use the custom battle menu right now. None of the cities or castles are available. In fact, you can't use Nord units. I've been dying to do all kinds of custom battles, testing out tactics and trying to determine strengths and weaknesses for the Nords, but you can't do it, right? So we're learning on the fly here through the campaign map. And we're starting to glean some stuff, right? We're starting to learn that the Huskarl is a defensive tier 6 unit. We're starting to learn that their shock troops are pretty powerful. We're starting to learn that their skirmishers are kind of middle of the road. Oh shit, it is just dumping us in. All right, let's pull everybody off the wall, line formation. I just saw a fire catapult. That's good information. We will use that in a minute. Let's spread out archers here. I do see a pretty beautiful courtyard here. It's sloping. There's barriers between the archers and the gate. The ladders look like they're tiered. The stairways look like they're in plain sight. And I got a Bannerlord Woody here. We're going to have a siege defense here. We're going to be able to hold this. Well, I shouldn't do that. You guys are all disappointed now. I know there's some guys who they sort of vicariously ride along with our difficult sieges. Now, that's the worst spot a catapult could be in, because I don't think I can hit their troops, you know, throwing them. I was hoping to do some free throw shots and level the shit out of my throwing skill, athleticism, but we still need to try to use it, right? Because we want to try to destroy a siege tower if we can. Is that just a regular stone catapult? They've done some damage to the walls, it looks like here. And what an interesting castle. Guys are getting smoked. Oh shit, it's not here. It's way over there. Wow, that's even worse. That's a jog just to get over there. This is a huge castle. This feels more like a city. And man, I just get a perpetual woody. The epic nature of Bannerlord, it grows, it seems to be incremental. Every single little update, it's more epic. This castle is huge. The main dungeon, right? The main giant castle is mammoth as well. This scene feels like a city defense. We're at a castle, right? I'm pretty sure it's a castle. They just destroyed the siege tower. It feels like we're 700 feet above the prairie down there, looking down from Minas Tirith, launching fireballs on the orcs. Catch that one, orcs. We're gaining levels here. And look at all the little ducklings coming over to fatten the lines that we just immolated. Look at, I'm gonna wait just a second here for them to filter in. And I'm like Mr. Analogy, you guys know that at this stage. My mind just kicks them off. You know what I'm reminded of when I see that shit and they're all sort of clustering, they're moving around a little bit? I feel like a photographer and I'm like, hey, those two on the right, I need you to move a little to your left. Perfect. Oops, well, we missed that shot. That was, I didn't come up with the punchline there. Somehow I got out of calibration here. We must have, okay, I don't know. Every other shot was dead on, hopefully. Yeah, right, perfect. You guys perfectly posed for that picture. I mean, we just killed like 70 troops with 3 or 4 fire cannons. Now, we got to get down there, right? I'm already antsy. I don't know about you guys, but there's a clock in my head when siege. I know that ram is getting close to the gate. I know you're going to hear boom as it gets through the outer door in like a minute. I've got about 2 minutes to get down in the courtyard and start commanding troops, start micromanaging javelins. We've got to throw the rocks above the gatehouse, right? I've got to get down there quick. In fact, I'm not going to be able to stay up here. You got Tweedledee and Tweedledum up here getting smoked. They get one shot off and they're shot in the nutsack. Down it goes. We got to get down there. They're starting to rush the gate. I'm going to take one for the road here. Don't drink and drive, but definitely fireball and drive, right? Take one of these. Look for... what do they have? They have ladders, right? So this is painstakingly slow. I'm getting anxious just carrying this ship because I know the enemy's rushing the gate. And if we get a blowout right now, we'll definitely lose this siege. It looks okay for now. And look at how beautiful this is, right? Have one of these, you bitches. All right, we're just going to jump over this mess here. There's a whole bunch of allied and enemy troops. I'm just going to kind of, pardon me, gentlemen. I'm just trying to get to some rocks. You guys hold the line and get stabbed and slashed and concussions. I will kill with impunity from here. We will. It's somewhere in here, right? I can't remember. I just got a weird graphical glitch. Hopefully you guys aren't getting that. We're dumping balls. And I can't see very well in here. I gotta make sure I don't fall off the ridge. As long as I don't fall off the ridge, right, we are going to rack up skill points. Just kaboom, concussion. Kaboom, concussion. And if it feels dark for you, trust me, it feels dark for me as well. It may be that I don't have the exposure turned up. Of course, we're still adjusting to the settings, and you may notice the lack of allied golden orbs. I have mentioned it to Tailworld, so it is... I haven't gotten a sure answer back, but I think it is a bug, right? We shall see. I could be totally wrong. I'm frequently wrong. Ask my wife. But I cannot see the orange globe above allied troops, and I've done everything I could, hit all the settings I can to make them show up. So, I could be wrong, but just bear with me on that. Now, I just got reinforcements, right? That is a sight for sore eyes. I was actually wondering where all my troops were at the beginning of the siege. If that happens to you in siege, I can explain it. Let me get these troops aligned here, and when I get a moment, I'll tell you what's happening. We got this, what is that, militia pouring in here with as well. It's all these reinforcements, because we had like 380 troops or something like that. We got archers galore. Man, do we have a lethal concoction. In fact, I can take a deep breath here, right? I'm going to be able to throw some javelins and kill some people. We've got troops everywhere. It's hard for me to tell which units I'm looking at. I'm basically doing it by the number above their head. I can't tell otherwise. We've got militia creating a huge traffic jam over there on the left, and I feel very content at this stage. I've got like extra troops essentially, and it's a great angle for this siege defense. This is, I'm going to go ahead and say it right now, this is top 5 castle in the game. In all of Bannerlord is this castle here. I don't remember the name actually. We'll be sure to put that in the video title. Now, why did we get reinforcements, right? It seems strange. That's because in a siege, no matter how badly outnumbered you are, if you're outnumbered 7 to 1, 8 to 1, you get 1/4 of the units on the battlefield. So if you're outnumbered 10 to 1 and there's 1,000 units on the battlefield, which there are right now, you get 250. That means we had a whole secondary batch of reinforcements come out. Initially, our army was not complete, right? When it kicked out our troops and dumped us in, I didn't add it up in my head, but it seemed like we had about 90 troops. Now we've got most of them on the field, and the enemy's in trouble, right? Look at that spray. Our archers are, if I do say so myself, those archers are beautifully positioned. They're right on that slope where they can shoot over the infantry's head. Any little gap where the enemy is visible, they get pounded. We're exploiting, right? A lot of guys lament that we're exploiting the fact that there's no friendly fire. It is what it is, right? We're going to exploit our reflexes before we're senile too, right? We're taking advantages of the get out of here. My horse just trucked me and made me drop my javelins. We're going to take advantages of the advantages that are present, right? I don't think anybody considers this. I don't think many people consider this an exploit. I did have one guy tell me, "Oh, you're exploiting. It's exploiting." Okay, don't do it then. We're trying to help people at Bannerlord. This game is hard, right? We could still lose this siege. I don't think so. We got a square there. I've got javelins just raining in. We've got like 80 archers broadsiding everything that comes through the door. But if you make some mistakes in a siege like this, you definitely lose, right? And I've lost a lot of sieges like this to get to this level of comfort. They're starting to bring in peasants, and this siege is over. These guys are getting trucked. And look at that crossfire. Now, we had a siege in a Valandian castle. They just routed. This siege is over. We had a gnarly siege in that Valandian castle that was super close. That was way harder to defend than this place, right? This place is a gem. I'm going to kick this guy here. That's Khuzait. Sometimes you need to make sure your enemy knows how sadistic and ruthless you are. Let's just embarrass him, kick him a few times before his life is over. We're going to be especially sadistic with pixels. Let's see if we can't get a miraculous headshot here on this archer, right? Like the movie style as they're running away, this 80-foot shot right to the head. Almost, right? And what are you guys doing? Teabagging over here? They look like they're teabagging that guy. I think they can't reach him. I remember the first time my friend got teabagged, I wasn't playing video games, but he was, and some 12-year-old teabagged him. I was like, what? And then he started talking shit to him. I was like, that's horrific. And then I did it, and I was like, actually, that's kind of funny. Like, obviously, it's a video game, right? To sexually desecrate your corpse. That happened almost never, even in real history. All right, that is what I call success. We had 13 casualties and 500 kills. I'm not the greatest mathematician, but that's about a 40 to 1 kill ratio. That'll do.
Stop. I yield.
Yeah, you yield. Come with us.
I give up.
All you Khuzait bitches can come with us. It's a rude introduction for them. This means we would probably get prisoners. Beautiful, right? We get some free Nords here. We've had a few of these happen of late, and these delicious siege defenses continue. Like we obviously welcome siege. I don't think it's an exaggeration to say we have as many siege defenses as anybody who plays Bannerlord. I was going to say in the history of the universe, and just be especially audacious. We've got scores of siege defenses on the channel. I've legitimately had 500 siege defenses, all kinds of scenarios. There's virtually no castle or city I haven't tried a siege defense, and that is because, of course, we make guides on the channel. We made plenty of guides for the neighbors of the Nords, right? Those of you who are playing a non-Nord kingdom, right? You're going to want to check out our playlist of castles and cities that the Nords can't touch. That if you're being zerged by a bunch of Nord infantry and you're feeling no safety, go to these locations, and you will have safety, right? Whether it's Baltikond is like untakeable. Many of the Khuzait castles are utterly untakeable, especially if you understand the difference in walls between tier 2 and tier 3. And I'm going to leave at like a little spoiler like that. You're going to have to watch the video to understand. Heaps of experience here for Vimy. Maybe eventually we can get him some armor that makes him not look like a bipolar maniac. We pick up our ship here. We need to go find the king. we've got to swear fealty here because I'm getting horny. We need to get laid. We need to get married. And I want a city. I want a castle, damn it. I want to actually do some stuff with some Nord culture instead of just roaming around as this hapless mercenary. I mean, we're racking up gold, but at some point or other, and look at all the loot. We are just totally weighed down. Our boat is like almost sinking in the river because it's piled to the sky with Valandian and Khuzait gold. I love it, right? And hopefully you guys are enjoying it too. I'm actually gonna, let's see how I'm gonna, and now we have peace. You a-hole. This guy we just saved his ass. We have all these Khuzait nobles that we were gonna ransom for heaps of gold. And our dipshit king, who I still can't find, he better be here at Hargard. I'm gonna lose my mind if he's not here. I've checked all the other cities and he's not roaming the map. He's not on the campaign map. At least that I have seen. Maybe he's visiting a tavern or something like that. He's gotta be here. Swear fealty here, and then I think we're gonna wrap this episode up. Oh, you gotta be me. He's not here. So the search for the Nord king continues. Maybe he got executed and nobody told me. But we're gonna wrap this episode up. This is gonna be a truncated episode. I'm actually gonna continue in just a second.